All right, hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone who teach and rule well, peace and infinite salutations to the elect that are scattered abroad doing this work in truth and in sincerity, teaching the names of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, and prophesying against Mount Seir. I'm the brother Abal Gabar coming at you from the camp Company of Prophets with a lesson. We're going to go into Daniel chapter 7 today. Lord willing, is edifying to the hopeful elect. I got some notes. All right, going to go into this breakdown. And Lord willing, is edifying to the hopeful elect. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, this is Daniel 7:1. It says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. All right, we know the prophets were dealt with by dreams and visions. The Lord would show the prophets dreams and visions, all right, which I myself have had numerous dreams and visions of the end times, the chariots, so on and so forth. All right, the Lord says that he deals with his prophets through visions. Okay, so Daniel had a vision, right? It says, then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. All right, and these four winds represents four kingdoms, okay, which we're going to go into. All right, and we're going to get a precept in Zechariah. All right, and that great sea represents the Mediterranean. All right, so let's go to Zechariah real quick, 1:18. All right, the book of Zechariah, chapter 1 and verse 18. It says, then lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, four horns. Okay, which these four horns are the same, going into the four kingdoms that we're going to read about in Daniel 7. All right. It says, and I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these? And he answered me, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. And the Lord showed me four carpenters. All right. So he's going back to Daniel 7. Let's go back to Daniel 7. All right. These are four kingdoms that we're going to read about right now. And it starts with the Assyrians, okay, then the Babylonians. All right. Then you had the Medo-Persians. Then you had the Grecians and the Romans. All right. So let's go back to Daniel 7 and verse 3. It says, and four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. All right. And these four great beasts goes into those kingdoms. Okay. Which the final kingdom is the Roman Empire. Okay. Which now we're in the Roman Empire revived by way of NATO and the EU. All right. This American system. All right. So Daniel 7:4, it says the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. All right. Now let me pull this up real quick. All right. Which the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, going into the Assyrian Empire. Okay. And even when you go, and this is the statue of the Assyrians, you see, okay, a lion with eagle's wings. And this is what Daniel saw in his vision, which this represented the Assyrians, okay, the Assyrian Empire. All right. So let's go back. Daniel 7:4, it says, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. Right. And the wings being plucked goes into Babylon. All right. taking down the Assyrians. Okay, because every kingdom, it had a time to rule, but then it had, its time to fall and go into power and come out of power. All right, and all the riches, from these kingdoms, they were just translated. So, the Assyrians, when they were in power, they had, gold, riches, silver. But when they got conquered by the Babylonians took everything. Okay, and then the Babylonians were later conquered by the Medo-Persians. Okay, which the Medo came first, and then the Persian came after, and the Persians were more exalted. All right. So back to Daniel 7:4, it says, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. All right, the Assyrian. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, which is Babylon taking over the Assyrians. Okay. And it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it. Okay, lifted up because the Babylonian Empire was being, raised up after it took down the Assyrians. All right, and it said, and a man's heart was given to it, which is going into Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, Nebuchadnezzar. All right, it says, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side. Now let me go ahead and pull this back up. Let's go back to this right here. All right, the bear. You can see the bear that has 3 ribs in its mouth. All right, so it says, 5. Daniel 7:5, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear. Right, because and this bear represents the Medo-Persians, which took out the Babylonians. Okay, that came after the Babylonians. Right, it says, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side. And the modern Medo-Persians, okay, like when you read, let's go to it real quick. What is that, Isaiah? Yeah, Isaiah 13, the modern Medes is Russia. Okay, when you go to the bear in the book of Revelations, okay, speaking of Russia, Isaiah 13:17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces. This is going into Russia. Okay, the modern Medo-Persians, the modern Medes is talking about Russia. Okay, because who took out Babylon? The Medo-Persian. Okay, and who's going to take out this modern Babylon? Mystery Babylon, America. Who's going to take this place out is Russia. Okay, the modern Medes. All right, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows, those nuclear missiles, also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited. Okay, this is talking about America. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, right? Because when this place is taken out by Russia, the modern Medes, which the ancient Medo-Persian Medes took out Babylon. Now Russia is going to be used to take out America. But see, the difference is from ancient Babylon to this Babylon is America is not going to be dwelt in after these missiles hit. Okay, it's going to be turned to a desert. That's why it says it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. Right. All right. Now let's go to this real quick. Back to Daniel 7. All right. And even when you read Revelation 13, it goes into the leopard and the feet, whereas the feet of a bear, okay, bear represents Russia. But when you go to Daniel 7, let's go back to it. All right, Daniel 7 and verse 5, it says, "And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear," okay, the Medo Persian, "and it had raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in its mouth, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh." All right. So when it said it raised itself on one side, because the Persian side was more exalted, okay, more powerful than the Medo. The Medos, the Persians were more exalted than the Medos. All right. It said, then it says, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. All right. And the three ribs go into the three areas that they conquered, okay, which is let me get my notes. I won't just say it, but Babylon is one of them, Egypt, Daniel 7, and Libya, okay, which also you can go into how they came from the east, the north, and the south. Okay, so the three ribs are three areas that the Medo Persian, the Persians conquered. All right, which is like I said, Egypt, Libya, and Babylon. Right, that's the three ribs. So back to Daniel 7 and 5, "And behold, another beast, a second like unto a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, the Persian, and it had three ribs in its mouth, Babylon, Libya, and Egypt." It says, "Between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh," right? Because they were slaughtering, okay? They were taking over, right? It says, "After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard," all right, which is right here, all right, a leopard, which this is going into the Grecians, all right, that conquered the Medo Persians, all right, the Greek Empire, likened to a leopard, because a leopard, strikes quick, all right, and the Grecians came into power very quickly, all right. It says, "After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. The beast had also four heads, and dominion was given to it." All right, the four wings represent Alexander the Greek's four generals, okay, which is Cassander, Ptolemy, Lysimachus, and Seleucus, okay, from whom came Antiochus, okay. All right, and Alexander the Greek, uh, ended up dividing the kingdom to upon his death. The four generals are referred to as the successors. All right, let me do something real quick. Pull this up. Let's read it one more time. Daniel 7 and 6. And after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, 4 generals. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. All right, which this represents the Grecians, okay, that came into power and took down the Medo-Persians. All right, this is when Esau started coming into power, the so-called white man. Right, and you had Alexander the Great, or Alexander the Creep, you know. And then you had Antiochus, right, during the time of the Maccabees, and then that's when the Hellenists, that's when the Israelites started becoming, Hellenistas, started learning the ways of the Grecians, all right, during the time of King Antiochus, all right. Because remember, during the Maccabees, during the Grecians, we weren't even allowed to, call ourselves Jews or Israelites, or we would be put to death. All right. Let's go to that real quick. So the Grecians, when you go to 2 Maccabees 6 and 6, it says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So this is where you get the understanding of the Gentiles in the New Testament, which are Israelites. Okay, that during the Grecian captivity, okay, during the time of King Antiochus, during the time of the Maccabees, you weren't even allowed to keep the laws, profess yourself as an Israelite. So Israelites became Hellenized. Okay, they started living like the Grecians. Okay, a lot of Israelites actually thought they were Greek. Okay, but indeed they were Israelites. Right. So let's go to this too, 2 Maccabees. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 1. And 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. All right, Alexander the Greek. All right, and his servants bear rule, everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Right, that's when wickedness started spreading. Okay, during the Edomites, which also goes to prove that Esau is the wicked. All right, and this is why they also took the Apocrypha out, because it goes to naming names. Okay, Alexander. Okay, this is known history. Okay, Alexander the Greek. Right. It says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus. All right, King Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Okay, going into the leopard. Okay, which it started with King Alexander the Great, and then after his reign for 12 years, he died, and then came that wicked root, which is Antiochus. All right, and that's when wickedness started springing up in the earth. All right, and then they started sacrificing unto idols, polluting the holy place. All right, and in that day you had wicked Israelites that wanted to go and make a covenant with the Grecians. That's why it goes to say, First Maccabees 1 and 11. In those days went there out Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we had departed from them, we have had much sorrow. And that's the spirit that Jake is in now, wanting to team up, unite with the heathens. And that's what they did during the Grecian Empire too. All right. And they started building a place of exercise where you get the gym, all of that comes from the Grecians, but it says and made themselves uncircumcised, forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. All right, that's what our people did during the time of the Grecians. Now, when you jump down, First Maccabees 1:41, it says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. All right, King Antiochus. This is, when Esau wanted, the idea of a new world order goes all the way back to King Antiochus. He wanted, that one world government, right? So he wrote to the whole kingdom that everybody should be one people and everyone should leave his law. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath, right? In the time of the Grecians was a very, very rigorous captivity, okay? And a lot of Israelites, they just consented to King Antiochus, okay? Because a lot of Israelites were getting put to death. And this is where Israelites became Gentiles, okay? This is the mystery of the Gentiles. You got to understand history. You got to understand the time of the Maccabees, all right? Where we lost our power, okay? And this is what the leopard is talking about in Daniel 7. It's going into Alexander the Greek, starting with Alexander the Greek after his 12 years. Well, he had his 4 generals, and then after the 12 years Antiochus came into power. All right, and during that time, Israelites started living like the heathen, started living like the Grecians. Right. So it says, I'm just gonna jump down. It says, verse 50, and whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. So all the Israelites that didn't want to, serve the Grecians, serve King Antiochus and pollute the sanctuary, forbid burnt offerings, profane the Sabbath. If you didn't want to do these things, you will be put to death. All right. Worship idols. And a lot of Israelites was getting put to death, but then you had a lot of Israelites that also just consented. All right. So let's go back to Daniel 7. Daniel 7:6. And after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, okay, the Grecians, Alexander the Greek, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, which is Alexander the Greek's 4 generals. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Right? Power was given to it. All right. It says, after this, I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, which is going into the Roman Empire, okay, which conquered the Grecians, okay, which took over the Grecians. All right, let me zoom in on the 4th beast, right, which this is just a drawing. All right. Let me zoom in. Yeah. All right, so it says, and after this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. Right, because the Romans had a lot of military power, okay, and they used iron, okay, which was a more powerful metal, okay, than these other nations used. Okay, they had iron, everything, all right, armor, swords, okay, and they conquered the Grecians. It says, and it had great iron teeth. Going into that iron, okay. The Romans' primary choice of metal was iron, and that's how they conquered, because iron was a superior metal. Than silver, than gold, all of that stuff. All right. It says, and the teeth represents power. It says it devoured and break in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, right? Because before the time of Rome, these kingdoms, they had kings, all right? But see, Rome had Caesars, or democracy, right? Rome had Caesar, so it was diverse. What made the Roman Empire diverse from all the other empires was, the Roman Empire had Caesars rather than a king. They didn't have a king. They had Caesars, so it made it different from the rest. It says, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. All right, let me pull this up real quick. Which the 10 horns, okay, goes into the 10 horns in Revelation, but they had an ancient name during the time of the Roman Empire, which I'm gonna pull that up real quick. Let me pull this up. All right, which let me go here real quick. All right, the 10 divisions of Rome. All right, which these are the ancient names: the Alemanni, the Franks, the Burgundians, the Suevi, the Vandals, the Heruli, the Lombards, the Ostrogoths, the Anglo-Saxons, and the Visigoths. Okay, which it says history shows that the Western Roman Empire divided into 10 separate kingdoms: the Alemanni, the Franks, the Burgundians, the Suevi, the Vandals, the Visigoths, the Anglo-Saxons, the Ostrogoths, the Lombards, and the Heruli. This is the order that they came into prominence in the Western Empire. All right, like vassal states. Okay, it says history is also unmistakable as to who uprooted the 3 exterminated kingdoms. See, it says it can be attributed to one power only, and his power is the little horn of Daniel 7, which we're going to go into, which is America. And the 3 horns goes into the Spanish, the French, and the British. Okay, which America came out of Britain. Okay, and at one time, all those nations were fighting for the land of America, and the British end up winning that. All right, and then America came out of Britain. All right. So these are the 10, the ancient names. Now the modern names for the 10 horns, when you go to Revelation 13, 13 and 1, it says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy, which this beast represents the Roman Empire. Okay, and the 7 heads is going into 7 kingdoms, which is the Spanish, the French, the British, Germania Major, Germania Minor, the Grecians, and the Romans. Okay. It says the 10 horns represents the common market or the European Economic Community, the EEC or the EU, which now it is it's more than 10, but it was originally comprised of Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Spain, and Portugal, England and Ireland, all right, West Germany, all right. So it all goes into one, okay? But in the ancient time, Rome, it had these names: Alemanni, Franks, Burgundies, so on and so forth, right? Let me pull that. Let's go back to Daniel 7. Daniel 7 and 7. Let me close this. Share this. It says, and after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, going into the Roman Empire. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, because it was conquering. Okay. The Roman Empire was a beast. Okay. It says, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns, which we just went into. It says, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. Okay. Which is going into America. America is this little horn. Okay. Different from the little horn spoken of in Daniel 8. Daniel 8, the little horn is referring to Antiochus. But this little horn in Daniel 7 is going into America, all right, the United States, this current kingdom, right? It says, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, right? Which is the Spanish, the French, and the British, all right? They were plucked up by the roots. It says, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. All right, verse 9, it says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head were like the pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. This is going into the Father, Yahweh. All right. So yeah, so Daniel 7, 1 through 8. All right. The 4 winds represents, these 4 beasts represent kingdoms, which it starts with the Assyrians. Okay. Then it went to what? The Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, the Grecians, and then the Romans. All right. And now we're in, the modern Roman Empire, which is the beast whose deadly wound was healed. Let's go there real quick. Revelation 13. And 3, and it says, well, I started at 2 actually. Let me do this real quick. Revelation 13 and 2. All right, Revelation 13 and 2, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. All right, going into the Grecians, we just went into that, Daniel 7, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, right, which is the Russians, because they're the ones who's going to bring this place down. Okay, when you think about your feet, that's the bottom. Bring it down, the feet of it. And who's going to take out Babylon? The modern Babylon is the Russians, the modern Medo-Persians. The ancient Medo-Persians took out ancient Babylon. It says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. All right. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and a great authority, going into this modern Roman Empire. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast, okay, because the Roman Empire fell, but then was raised back up again as the Neo-Roman Empire, also known as America. Okay, so the ancient Roman Empire fell, and then it came back into power by way of America, NATO, and the EU, which is the rebirth of the Roman Empire. Okay. So the first beast, because you read in Revelation 13, the first beast, the deadly wound going into Rome falling, and then later that wound was healed by way of America coming back into power, NATO and the EU, this modern beast system. All right. So yeah, that's Daniel 7, Lord willing, was edifying to the hopeful elect. Daniel 7, the 4 kingdoms, 4 beasts represents 4 kingdoms. So with that, call hello, Yahweh, watch me. I was shy. Till next time I say shalom.